Hi gang, I'm Mike from Mike's Music Express and I want to tell you all about the best band in the world right now, the Growlers. Let's go, let's do it. Well gang, I'm on a little bit of a mission to get the world to listen to the Growlers. They're pretty unknown here in the UK, but everyone I've played the Growlers to loves them, and we're talking everyone. That goes from a guy I know who's in his 70s and a big Rolling Stones fan, he adores the Growlers, to my best friend Matt, kids, because they love it. And I think they're an amazingly brilliant band, and I'm going to try and convince you of the same and make you want to go and check them out. But there's an obvious thing we've got to get past first, especially here in the UK, and that is that name, the Growlers. Just imagine you're assigned a super cool guy, really good looking, you're rich, young, attractive, funny, witty, well connected. You even like those little videos on Facebook of cats being funny. You're the sort of babe magnet every guy wants to be, but you've got one problem, and that's your name. When people hear Adolf, they're a little bit worried, and when they realise that your surname's Hitler and you sound remarkably like the world's most evil man, no one's going to want to go near you. And that's the problem the Growlers have got. You see, they're from California, and in the States, Growlers means something completely different. A growler is a jug of beer or a measurement of beer or an ugly person. There's even a beer brand called Growler beer. And here in the UK, it's got very different connotation. It either means or a, how can I put this, a nasty slang word for vagina. That's right, that beer over here would be called Old Vagina. Not really going to sell very many called that, are you? And that's the problem. That's the problem the Growlers have got in this country. I mean, I heard about the Growlers, right, through a girlfriend of a friend of mine. And we were sitting around talking a few years ago, and I asked her sort of what she's listening to, because I'm a big music fan, obviously, is why I do this. And she said a load of other bands, and in that band were the Growlers, and I'd never heard of the Growlers at that point. And I took a mental note of it and the other bands, and because of the name, I just assumed they were going to sound like a thrashy, fast, punky band, because that is what it sounds like. And weirdly, pretty much everyone I've made listen to the Growlers, and there's a lot of these people, have thought that as well until I've made them listen. And each and everyone has loved them and said, why on earth are they called the Growlers? So let's just ignore the name for now and move on. So they're not a flashy, punky sort of that type of band. But now you're thinking, well, if they don't sound like that, what do they sound like, Mike? Well, I'll try and tell you, but it's quite tricky. You see, the Growlers are part surf, part funk, woohoo, part reggae, part psych rock, part pop, part synth pop even, and frequently all of those things together at exactly the same time. See, the Growlers are their own genre of music at the end of the day. They call it beach goth because they're not very good with names for things, are they? They're not in any way goth as we would think of it in any way. They call it beach goth, I think partly because of the element of surf, and there's a certain darkness to some of the lyrics, but in no way are they a goth band. For that combination of sounds to work, they would have to have some absolutely killer songs, and luckily they do. By the way, can I just apologise on that last bit for me dancing? Because I'm a white guy of a certain age, and when I dance it looks like dressage, do you know what I mean? So anyway, on with the video. The Growlers formed in 2006. They've had numerous lineup changes, but their creative hub appears to revolve around singer Brooks Nielsen, lead guitarist Matt Taylor, and multi-instrumentalist Kyle Straka. And they seem to be the people who are around the band or the main creative hub of the band most of the time. The Growlers look and sound exactly like they want to, not how other people want them to sound. Their first 4 albums and EPs, and their EP, okay, albums and EPs for them are fairly intermingled because their EPs have like 9 songs on them, but their early stuff, their early period of first 4 albums or so, were recorded in their own studio, which they built in a little warehouse, but they also happened to live. It's fair to say their albums got better as they started to master the recording process as they made their own records. their debut album, Are You In or Are You Out, has got some great songs on it, but does suffer from sounding like it was recorded at the bottom of a well. There are lots of die-hard Growlers fans who think this is their best album. I personally don't. For me, it's 2010's Hot Tropics, where the Growlers sound really begins to emerge. Built around Brooks Nielsen's amazing, just woken up with a hangover blues singers type singing. I mean, he's a great singer. There's a lovely slept in voice going on there that sounds like he's just had a whiskey and a cigarette, and judging from the lyrics, he has. And the brilliant Matt Taylor's dynamic guitar, as well as that trademark genre shifting mid-song or within songs, gives their sound a real fullness. And the standout tracks on Hot Tropics include like Graveyards, Full Badlands, and my favourite on the album, Underneath Our Palms, which are really, if you listen to them, very different songs, but still sounding like the Growlers. Matt Taylor's guitar playing is something to behold. Now, don't get me wrong, the Growlers sound nothing like the Smiths, but there is something that reminds me of Johnny Marr about him. Not because he sounds like Johnny Marr, he's far more surf-based, but the fact that you get the idea there's a brilliant guitarist playing, but there aren't any like really tossy guitar solos with someone playing it, you know, for hours on end, which I don't really go for. Instead, it's like intricately woven pieces of music around the vocals. They really work together. And once again, the Growlers are nothing like the Smiths. They're far sexier, and I'm a big Smiths fan, I can still say that. So Hot Tropics, great album. The first time they sounded like they were at the bottom of the well, perhaps about halfway up it. Still slightly DIY, but you can actually hear what they're doing. Now's probably a great time to mention YouTube, the very place you're probably watching this video, because the band, the Growlers, are very much part of the YouTube generation. Even their very first gig is on YouTube, and they're prone to making little promos for gigs they're doing, which have got like a new bit of music on it, and also throwing out terrific songs in video form on YouTube, which you certainly couldn't buy in the UK, and still can't for some of them, though they did put a few out last year, even though some of these things were been on YouTube for years. So, and by that I'm talking about the brilliant Monotonia, an absolutely fantastic song which isn't on any of their albums, and as far as I can tell was never released as a single. They've just thrown it out on YouTube. California's another great example, and they were just all over YouTube. So what I've done is, down below you're going to find a heap of links to some of their recommended tracks for you to get into the band with. In 2013, the Growlers released the excellent Hung Up Heart album, originally produced with the Black Keys Dan Olbrach, as they say it, producing, but they didn't like the results, so they did it again themselves. It's a brilliant album, slightly further out of the well, but still a bit self-produced, if you know what I mean. It has such brilliant Growlers classics as Naked Kids, 1 Million Lovers, Row, and Beat Tracks, all brilliant songs. They also released the Gilded Pleasures / Not Psych EP. Now let's get this clear, I live in the UK and this is made by somebody who's British and loves the Growlers. In the States, they probably release things slightly differently. Certainly Not Psych is like the great title. We don't want to be called a psych rock band, even though they are quite psych rocky, as I said earlier, but they will release an EP, 9-track EP, and call it Not Psych. Then was put together with a couple more tracks and then appears as Gilded Pleasures. I've got Not Psych because that's what you could get in this country, do you know what I mean? So I don't know where you are, which one of those two. They're more or less the same thing. All released in the space of a year. Really phenomenally productive time for the Growlers, and you know what? Great records, both of them, and really astonishing piece of psych, rock, reggae, beach goth, whatever you want to call it, with brilliant vocals and some terrific lyrics. And then they accidentally burnt down their live-in studio, homemade place where they lived and worked. Yeah, that's going to cause a problem or two, isn't it? Well, you'd think it'd be a problem, but the next year, the Growlers went on to release, for me, their masterpiece album so far, because they're still making and recording rap music, the brilliant Chinese Fountain. Now Brooks says this was their first attempt at a polished, grown-up sound. What I think you actually get is a completely out of the well produced, but within still very much the Growlers sound version of the Growlers. Not only that, but it is full of beltingly brilliant songs. And as I say, there are links below to a number of Growlers tracks, but if you want to just jump off and check out an album, go there. It's a brilliant starting point for the Growlers. You can go backwards and forwards, but there's only one more album after, but you can go backwards and check out their other stuff from there, and you'll get a really good grounding for what they're about. For me, Chinese Fountain is an absolutely brilliant album. Every single track is fantastic. The title track appears to be some sort of Growlers manifesto, contains the amazing lyric, the internet is bigger than Jesus or John Lennon, reference there to the Beatles, and Matt stated issues with saying they were bigger than Jesus. And it also contains Going Gets Tougher, a song about being broke after your house / studio was burned down, Dull Boy, Not the Man. They're all great. And it also contains my favourite chorus lyric of all time by any band ever, which is, there's nothing as depressing as good advice. Great stuff, Brooks. What an absolute peach of a record it is, and as I say, an ideal jumping off point if you want to just go and dive in and check them out. The Growlers really don't sound like anyone else, but at the same time they sound like lots of other things just put together, so they sound like themselves. I'm just repeating myself here, Anna. You've got the idea. Terrific band. After they released Chinese Fountain, they went on tour, etc, etc, and in 2016, after that, they released City Club. Now, it's worth just having a quick look at the modus operandi of how the Growlers appear to work, and in a new few interviews I've seen, they're sort of backed up as well by what they've said. So the Growlers release album, go and tour it for a chunk of time. It can be like a couple of years or whatever, and then just stop. They appear to then disappear off the ether, and what they say they do is sit and write like 40 odd songs, pick the best ones and go and record them. They don't write on the road, they don't play new songs when you see them live, they just tend to just do that. So after that period, they signed to Julian Casablancas from The Strokes. They signed to his Cult Records and released an album which Julian Casablancas also produced, called City Club. Now, some Growlers fans, and they've got kind of a point, I think this album's way too overproduced. It is slick. I mean, we've gone from bottom of a well to very computerized sounding sound, but it's still pretty damn good. The single and its rather excellent video, link below, I'll Be Around, is absolutely belting. Then there's Vacant Lot, Night Ride, Rubber and Bone, all brilliant tracks. There are some things on there which are just kind of averagey, which I'm not that keen on personally. But the modus operandi, to say, of the band is that they've been on tour. I was lucky enough to get to see them in London on that City Club tour, and they were absolutely brilliant. Let me just explain. Very charismatic frontman, Brooks is, with his sort of odd dancing. When you see them, know what I'm doing now, as he dances around the stage. Brilliant band, played everything, and no support act, just 2.5 hours of the Growlers playing their back catalogue and having a great time. They were absolutely brilliant, one of the best bands I've seen in years. If you get a chance to go and see them, go, you'll love it. I dragged along a couple of friends who hadn't heard a note of theirs and are now absolutely fanatical fans. And when I say fanatical fans, the Growlers have just announced a new tour, the Beach Goth Tour for 2018. Now, this is recorded in June 2018, and in November they're going to be doing like a handful of dates in Europe. And my friends who I took to that gig can't make the London date, so we are all going en masse to Amsterdam to see them. We're that big fans that we just want to make sure we see them. I'll go to London as well because I can do that. But hey, and that's what's happened to Growlers recently. They played last year, and then they disappeared. And this is like that time, you know, the Zeppelins flying over, the engines cut out, and now we're waiting for the crash, which will be hopefully a new Growlers album. The fact they've called it the Beach Goth Tour makes you wonder if the album be called Beach Goth. I hope not, because it'll just make people think they're a goth band. But I am really looking forward to it. Now, why am I really looking forward to it? I'll tell you why, because they released apparently an outtake and last year from the City Club session as a single, and it was a really interesting track 'cause it sounded more like the slightly less produced Growlers, and I'm kind of hoping that's the way they're going. And the Growlers tend to just put bits out. There's loads of other stuff. They do a beach goth festival as well in California where they get loads of their mates to come and do this huge outdoor gig over 2 nights. The Growlers played both, and the Growlers just do loads of stuff. They're always shoving weird bits out on little trailers for their shows, as I say, on YouTube. And that stuff's got really dubby now and really sort of slightly more lo-fi. So personally, I'm really excited about the idea of a new Growlers album. On top of that, they always come up with some belting songs. So hopefully this little video here on the Growlers, a little introduction to them, has made you at least vaguely interested in checking them out. As I say, the link's below. Have a look at them, see what you think, and let me know. Comment below, let me know what you thought of them, and I'm hoping you'll really grow to enjoy and love the band as much as I do. Please also remember to subscribe to this channel, Mike's Music Express. It's all about my views on loads and loads of music, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, thumbs up if you liked it. Don't if you didn't. I can't think why you wouldn't have done. I'm in it. Anyway, hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Until later, bye now.